Ciao.
You are not live yet.
That cross-platform as well, to not just lock it into the iOS ecosystem, is icing on the cake, I suppose. But we're not talking about that anymore. We're actually playing a game. Ross Rubin is here with us, everybody. Ross Rubin, Reticle Research. Do you want to say where that is online, by the way? Because I don't think you did.
Sure. It's at reticleresearch.com.
There you go. Couldn't be similar.
All one word.
Couldn't be, well, it's a URL, so it has to be one word, doesn't it? Unless you put a hyphen in there. But don't do that.
That's true.
Because then you're just messing it up. Yeah, Reticle-Research is a porn site. Don't go there.
No, don't go there.
That's also not true, I don't think. But I just had a new idea for a startup. Anyway, Ross Rubin is here with us, everybody. At Ross Rubin, also on Twitter, if you want to keep up with him. Right. A few weeks ago, Ross Rubin, a few months ago, if you'd been on this show, you'd be telling me 5 songs that make the perfect album side, but we're not doing that anymore. Because I try to come up with just sort of a fun little thing to do on Fridays. And the fun little thing that I've come up to do on Friday is something I like to call Wheel of Stuff. What happened is I got a decision maker app, which I believe is called Daily Decision or Daily Wheel. What's it called? I'm sorry, everybody, I can't remember, but go back and listen to last Friday's show. It's kind of funny, Ross, because I said, just go get a decision maker app. It doesn't matter. I've been so impressed with this stupid decision maker app that I spent $1.99 on.
You're a fan.
I'm a fan.
They've won you over.
Every time I go in to update my apps, it's there going, hey, we heard you, and we want to give you this other thing that you keep asking for. And I'm like, really? Because it was
they're the official decision maker app of the show.
They're the official decision maker app of In a Few Minutes, which is kind of funny. Don't have a few minutes to decide? Use Daily Decision Wheel, as heard on In a Few Minutes. Speaking of which, I need to turn on the sound so that we can hear it. Basically what happens is I spin the wheel, something, comes up, might be funny, might be serious, might be, well, it's all completely random because it's, to chance. And I throw the thing out to you and you tell me a bit about your response. Ross Rubin, are you ready to spin the wheel of stuff?
Sure am.
Oh. That will be much louder next time.
Okay.
Ross Rubin, would you please tell me about the best meal you ever had? Now, it can be because you ate at a place that you never thought you'd get to go to. It can be because that's the one where she finally popped a question and you said yes. It can be any number of reasons. Can you tell me, please, about the best meal you ever had?
Yeah, you stole my thunder a little bit there, Ken.
Really?
The best meal I ever had, a little bit, yeah, was in San Francisco at a place called Fisherman's Grotto, which is a place that visitors to the Fisherman's Wharf will no doubt encounter if they don't eat there. And I ate there on 2 very special occasions. By far, the most special was I ate there with my wife after I proposed to her, and because you at least got that part of it in, I'll add a little bit more flavor if you'll forgive the eating pun, which is that when I proposed to my wife, I got down on one knee and I presented the ring, and all of a sudden I hear all of this like banging, and unbeknownst to me, there was a different restaurant overlooking the bay where all of the customers seated by the window had seen all of this unfolding. And they were showing their appreciation of the show, the mealtime entertainment that I had provided. So that was kind of a fun part of that episode. And the other time I ate there, it was actually the first time I visited San Francisco. And this actually has a bit of a Mac angle because one of the first job interviews I ever had was interviewing at a publication called Mac Week magazine that was around for many years. It was a trade publication aimed at professionals, IT professionals using Macs in businesses. It had a lot of great contributors, and I went out there to interview for a reporter's job. Did not get the job, but I fell in love with San Francisco, and I remember walking all around the city and just taking in a nice lunch there. A couple of at least one sort of even that one kind of has a happy ending, even though I didn't get the job, because a few years later I was contacted by the editor, Henry Knorr, and he asked if I would have interest in writing reviews for their publication, and I was very excited about that opportunity, and I wrote reviews for them for a number of years and really enjoyed that.
Help me out really quickly. Where is Fisherman's Grotto? It's not the one that you took a boat and ate under the water, is it? I'm not being funny.
Oh, no.
Okay.
It's a huge place. No, I think it has 2 floors, and it just juts out, on one of those piers, I guess.
See, I always went when I went down to Pier 39, I would go to see the sea lions, and then I would go over to the In-N-Out Burger. Try to avoid Bushman. You know Bushman.
I don't.
Really?
But I do know In-N-Out.
He's this weird guy. Oh, I shouldn't say he's weird. It's kind of funny. So he's a guy who in San Francisco, I don't know if he still does because it's been a number of years since I've been there, but he basically holds shrubbery and sort of hunkers down. And it's very much the whole in San Francisco, you look straight ahead. You look for the thing you're looking for. You don't look around a lot because, he really quickly just sort of blends into the scenery, and it's like you're passing a bush. And then, of course, he'll jump up and scare you. Or jump up and scare somebody else.
That doesn't sound pleasant.
No, it's not. Yeah. It's really horrible. Saw him one time, and a guy was walking by with his daughter, and the guy says, "Look, honey, it's the Bush guy." And he said, "Bushman." He takes it very seriously.
Show respect.
Exactly.
You show respect when you refer to me. Yeah.
I didn't grow up to be called Bush Guy. Thank you very much. If he gets his doctorate, we're all done. All right. My hero in real life. My hero turns up twice on this wheel, Ross. One time as fiction, one time as fact. When you think back on all the people who are heroes, could be your favorite ball player, could be that special family member. Who's your hero? Have your heroes always been cowboys? I'm filling now until you get there.
No, I don't. I don't let my children grow up to become those. That's good. But in many ways, I would say it's my son. He was born very very early on in his childhood. He was diagnosed with on the autism spectrum, and he worked very hard as a little 2-year-old. We would bring in therapists and. He did an amazing job and came very far, and in a few years he lost that diagnosis. So he's doing super well today, and what he did was heroic to me.
So last week Tom Merritt said his was his grandmother. I love stories like that. I love when people say things like that. Yay! I kind of wish that was the last question because it would be wonderful to end on such an uplifting note, but we do have one more spin of the wheel. Are you ready?
I am.
I'm not saying this one's going to be terrible. I'm just saying that last one was wonderful. There's a difference. All right. I need to go through and change everything on this wheel because I'm getting lots of repeat questions, which is kind of fine because different people every week answering the question. Tell me about your first car. Now, you live in the New York City area. I wonder how early you got your first car. I mean, did you grow up in that area?
I did.
Okay. Wow. This is a really interesting question then, because the last time this question came up, it was a guy who grew up outside of big cities in Texas. So his first car was probably when he was 15, right?
Okay.
Tell me about your first car.
So, for this one, I'm going to go with the first car I kind of had. I didn't own it. It was still technically my parents' car, but I brought it with me up to college, and it was an Oldsmobile. I believe a Cutlass Supreme.
Okay.
It was. So the funny thing was, I lived with about 4 other guys, and they all had cars with them, and they all had these little red European compact cars, right? And I had this 77 Oldsmobile, and so they nicknamed it Das Boot.
Of course.
And And where I went to school, parking was terrible. I could never find a spot. I must have racked up $400 in parking tickets over the course of the semester, and it was not in good shape. I remember we drove it home. It was about a 5-hour drive, and at some point the muffler just fell off, and so it was just dragging for half the trip home.
Yeah.
And neither my passenger, who was one of my roommates, nor I really had any idea what to do with it. So of course the thing was, completely wrecked by the time I dragged it home to my dad, who worked for GM, by the way. So he knew quite a bit about cars. I think I was just met with the you really know nothing about these machines, do you? Kind of expression. So.
I love how universal the Das Boot thing is. If you were a kid at a certain time and you knew about that movie, and then you knew anybody who had a big car, like I met a guy at a party one time and he was like, yeah, I'm driving this, 77, 67 something, huge thing. And I was like, Das Boot. And he's like, how do you know that? I'm like, because you're my age and you've got a giant car. That's a thing that people do.
I think it could have served as an aircraft carrier for the other cars, possibly. Yeah.
You could have put one of the little red cars in the boot of your Das Boot.
Sure.
And pop that out in case of emergencies. Well, we do have some lovely parting gifts for you, including a lifetime supply of Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. That is, of course, 2 boxes, because that's really more than you should have in a lifetime, if you ask me. Ross Rubin, thank you very much for joining us for Wheel of Stuff.